There are just so many glaring things like wrong with society, you
Right.
know? And we really can't like it's hard to put your finger on every single little thing without letting something else give in a way.
Like what? Trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it's hard. I mean, it's important to like be aware of it, to not just completely ignore it, to not pretend it doesn't exist because it does, but the solution to it, it's it's hard to say.
I
It's,
mean, I don't know. Personally, like when I see injustice like that, like I don't I've never been like a victim of any type of injustice even though I'm Hispanic, but um it's so painful.
I think the worst part in my mind when I see injustice, and I've only suffered it like very few times in very minor cases, but like the worst part of it for me is just the question why. Like, why did it have to be that way? Why? Because I live my life doing my best to treat everyone nicely and politely, and if they start behaving poorly towards me, I usually try to avoid them because there's no point in starting a conflict, there's no point in escalating a bad situation and making it worse. The best thing is to either resolve it or avoid it. But like in certain situations it feels like there are just people who try to provoke, or not even provoke, just start bad stuff for no reason.
Yeah. I mean, we saw with this case like I don't know, like from every video that I watched for it, um the video of George Floyd was, I mean, by all accounts, just horrible to watch. I mean, and there was another video I talked to you about where it just showed them walking him over to the other side.
Right, so you said there were two videos. There was one of the officers walking the individual, and then there's a second video of him on the ground getting,
Like, yeah, they were kneeling on his neck.
yeah, just over killing him.
And I'm not one to ever like I'm not one of the people right now like yeah, posting on Instagram and Snapchat and like I'm no social media activist or protester. I I have very close friends that are black, and I mean, like I would give every drop of my blood for them if I had to
Right.
in a situation. I hope they would do the same, but
I mean, yeah, no,
like I hate, I don't want to, hate's a strong word, but it's pretty easy to say like you just hate seeing something
no, I
um
think hate is the
that
appropriate word.
describes hate.
No, I think hate is the appropriate word because, like, it just makes you feel bad. Like, there's no bright side to this. Like, I always try to like see it from every angle to try and imagine, you know, this must have been caused because of something. This can't just be evil people being evil, but sometimes it just is that, and it's just really frustrating that like the people with power, the people who are supposed to be there for you, turn against you.
I know
What
it. It's
what was he
quite
accused of? Like,
oxymoronic.
what was
Forging a check.
what is that? It means fake is faking a signature.
Yes.
They sat on the guy's neck. They elbowed his neck for forging a signature.
Yes.
Why?
Dude, and it's crazy. I
How
think
how
I
many
saw
officers were there? I didn't see the
four.
video. So there were four
Four
officers,
people were restraining
a
him.
guy with his hands behind his back, and his crime
There
was
were there were three actively on top of him. Another one was just
on his neck.
no. There
Okay, there
one
were
of them was. Another one was kind of actively just
talking.
talking to the people videotaping this whole scene.
Oh
He
well,
was like he was
crowd
basically
control.
turning, yeah, but he was basically turning a blind eye because they were telling him, "Yo, this guy can't breathe." Like they were literally telling this officer, and he was like just ignoring them, just
Why on the
staring.
neck of all places? Like, was he belly down or was his head?
Yeah, yeah.
If his belly is down,
face on the ground.
if his face is on the ground, you don't need to sit on his neck. You just put your body weight on his back, and that's the end of that. He won't get up.
Or don't even do that. Like if he's on his stomach, like
he can't even get up.
What are the odds that this guy can get up? Like, it's so excessive. It's so unnecessary, and it just completely shows. It just sheds light on like what's wrong. And quite frankly, like what's wrong is systemic, and I mean that's why like there's such an immense outcry right now, and for good reason. Like I don't
believe in protest.
No, protest I think is good. I probably would never protest, or I don't know if I would protest. I don't think it's necessarily the most efficient way to get things done.
Yeah, but like, what is?
I don't know. That is more of a political science question that for me I have no way of answering to you.
The easiest way would be for people to treat each other with respect.
I mean,
from the get-go.
And it's terrible that has to be like something that
explain. That should be common sense.
I mean, what? Like what?
I don't know what to say. I mean, I always like you know me. I'd say I'm fairly, I don't know if sensitive is the word, but I really don't want to hurt anyone. Like, I always try to make things as convenient for people as possible.
It's true that.
And, you know, anytime, like, if I bump someone in the shoulder or I made a mistake, I, like, apologize profusely because I just feel so guilty. And yet you have these people, like sitting on necks, and I'm just like, dude, was that really the best you could come up with? Like, have you no shame in like doing, like, this is a human being and you're treating them with such hostility, negativity, and for what reason I cannot imagine.
Because he forged a check.
Well, I guess that's the crime of the century, isn't it?
It's embarrassing, man. I was thinking about it on the way here, like why
it had to happen.
No. I'm the systemic reasons and things that allowed for, I guess, this type of behavior to still exist. And I mean, of course, like, you know, American history and slavery and then civil rights in the 60s, and
right.
there's a lot of dark history.
I mean,
in the US.
Yeah, that's
when
true.
it comes to racism, and it sucks. It's just
true.
terrible.
I mean, it's not exclusive to America, I'd say, but
no, definitely not.
I don't know. Like, I really don't know, because this isn't the 60s anymore. We're in 2020 right now. It's 60 years later. This shouldn't. I mean, it's not as bad as it was, but like, this is still unacceptable.
Yeah.
This shouldn't.
I mean, without a doubt, it's unacceptable.
This shouldn't happen. I mean, what is the actual crime? Like, of forging a check? Like, how bad is that? Like, if you went to court, like, what sentence would you get? You wouldn't get for life.
Dude, no. I have no idea. I'm no law student.
You have these politicians stealing like gazillions of dollars, and this guy like forged a check for like lunch money, and it's like, oh, we gotta break his neck.
No. Well, it could have been for lunch money. He was at a supermarket. For all we know, it could have literally been for lunch money, or just for lunch.
I mean, I didn't see the video, and from the sound of it,
it's awful.
It's awful. So I've already seen enough awful stuff on the internet. I don't need to see more.
The way I see it is this, like, and we don't have to talk about it any further because, like, quite frankly,
move on to the next topic.
Yeah, quite frankly, it's like it's like a sore subject for a lot of people, including myself, because like I said,
but we shouldn't mention it. Just
close friends. Yeah, exactly. The reason that it still exists is partially systemic, of course.
What does that mean? It's in the system.
Yeah.
What system?
Just our social system.
Social. Okay.
Or maybe not even partial. It might just be, like I said, I was thinking about this on the way here.
It could just be one.
The idea
individual.
of ignorance. Like, I watched this really interesting video, about this man who was trying to write a book on the KKK, and he was black. I forget his name, but he interviews one of those members, yeah, and like talks about his whole experience interviewing him, and it's like I think like they had like a cooler, an ice cooler with like some Pepsis and Cokes in it, and they like the ice shifted, you know, like when it melts and stuff. And for a second, like they had no idea the ice was shifting and stuff, and like it made a noise, right? And they both like were like, as soon as they heard it, they were both like feral cats. Like they looked at each other, like hair standing up on their necks and everything, like really on edge and stuff. And it was just a cooler. Like that's how tense it was in that room when he was interviewing them. And like he gave this lesson like at the end of the whole story, and I think it's like one of the best ways to describe everything that goes on, and it's ignorance. It is pure ignorance
Well,
that allows this stuff to happen.
what did he learn from them?
Uh,
Like, why did they believe what they believe?
that part I don't remember. I mean like for the most part, like what I think, I'm not gonna make any assumptions, but I'm like pretty sure that they think it's all in religious context.
Oh, okay.
Which I mean,
I get
I'm
it.
gonna
Yeah,
I'm
I
gonna
get
be
it.
honest. I don't know if religious context offers that, but that's for the world to decide, not me.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, yeah. So it's just ignorance. Like ignorance is the reason that this still exists, and it's because a lot of people are unwilling to learn and unwilling to be compassionate and unwilling to just see people as brothers and sisters instead of just them.
Yeah. I
I
guess.
hate that.
All it takes is one bad apple.
All it does take is one bad apple. You know, like there, like you said before, there are some people that will ruin it for a majority, and there are some people that will just tarnish stuff. But at the same time, you know, you have just
Evil people in the world.
evil people.